Hi, everyone. Jax is here. This is the first of hopefully many episodes. The show is called Jax. It's just about everything, everything being that X factor. On tonight's show, we have Tricia Auld. She's a Boston-based comedian, and I'm going to switch it off to Tricia to introduce herself a little more.
Hi, I'm Tricia Auld. I've been doing comedy for about 3 years in the Boston area. It's been a really great experience so far. Obviously, hoping to expand into other parts of New England as I get some more experience. So, thanks so much for having me, Jax.
No, thank you for being my first guest and going through the trials and tribulations of trying to start something new. It is a learning process. I know we've rescheduled a couple of times and we're finally able to do it, and hopefully the internet does not cut out.
We're
Um,
both very busy with all of our Tinder matches and dating and whatnot, so I completely understand rescheduling.
Yeah, no, I did Tinder for a week and now I've just been doing OK Cupid, but we can talk about that more later. What I want to do is I want to get into the questions, and my first one is, why did you start comedy?
I'm from a huge family. I have four sisters, and I'm the middle child of four sisters. I have a father who's a police officer and was a police officer in my town growing up. He's actually a juvenile detective. So he was always in my high school. He was, very well known by anyone in my high school that was getting into any kind of trouble. They were dealing with my dad. So there was a lot of comedy there. My mom's a kindergarten teacher in my hometown. So just growing up, laughter was really a huge part of my childhood. And I think it really kind of became, how I got through, anything, whether it be good, bad, or otherwise. It was always just, be able to make a joke about it, be able to laugh it off. My dad is hilarious. He's literally the funniest person I know, and he's always been, a storyteller in my life. um, Growing up, I would sometimes like bump into like one of his friends, and they would be like, Trisha, I heard, this story happened, and I would be like, I think my dad riffed a little on that one. That's not actually what happened, but that is hilarious. He was, always a storyteller throughout my childhood. So um, laughter has definitely been a part of my life for a long time.
Um, that's great. I love that you brought up your dad, because when I went to see you perform that time, you mentioned that your dad was a cop and he was there, and my dad's a cop, or was a cop as well. So,
Right.
so like when you go and you see comedians, there's always like you're trying to relate to them. And for me, watching your show, it was great because I could totally relate to that. Because then it wasn't until like last year I found out that my dad had ambitions of being a comedian. So the fact that I'm trying to do anything, he's like, oh, I want to start doing open mic when you come to visit. And it's like, okay, okay, Dad, you
Um,
know.
was he a cop in your hometown too, or?
No, he was NYPD and we lived in the suburbs. So
Wow.
he commuted, and he retired a lieutenant after 21 years. But
There's got
uh,
to be something with that because there are quite a few cop kids we call ourselves in Boston. There's quite a few that do comedy, and I definitely think to do a job like that, you have to have a sense of humor for sure.
yeah, and I also think with what's going on today, it is kind of important for us to stand by our fathers in law enforcement and say that they're not all bad, because that's something that's definitely been going on. And if we can make light of the situation so people understand it better, why the heck not?
Yeah. I will say my dad always growing up would say, there are bad apples in every field. It doesn't matter if it's comedy. I'm sure we both know some comedians that aren't the best people. There are good and bad people in every field. It doesn't matter. No industry is safe from a shitty person. So I don't think that takes away from the great cops that I know. I'm sure your dad's one of them. My dad's definitely one of them. He's helped so many people. So completely agree with you on that.
Yeah. Yeah. And so aside from fathers, I want to go back to comedy, and I want to talk about your experiences so far within comedy. Because like, so how long have you been doing it, and what have you found? What have you learned?
So the first time I ever did comedy, I just entered like a random competition. It was like a random open mic competition on Lansdowne Street in Boston. And I was like one of three comics, and there were like other artists, there were other musicians and stuff. The winner was to win a weekly like spot at the venue. I ended up winning for comedy, but I didn't win overall. And I just like, I felt like, you know, like I'm killing it. Like I literally thought I was like crushing life. And you know, I continued to actually really pursue comedy and started doing open mics and realized how terrible I really was. Um, I think we all like, no matter how many years you have under your belt, like there's always someone who's more experienced, who's better. There's always humbling experiences around every corner. I had a recent really humbling experience. I was asked to perform at a roast, which I had never done before, but typical Tricia was like, yeah, let's fucking do this. I'm gonna kill it. I've never written a roast joke. I actually would much prefer like roast myself for 20 minutes. So I got on stage and it was like 2 minutes in. I was like, oh my God, how much longer do I need to be out here? Because I was just like getting smoked.
Well, who were you roasting?
Mark Walton, who is a New York-based comic. Do you know him?
No, no, I'm very limited in my knowledge of Boston comics, even though people keep encouraging me to come to the area. But because I'm so close to Providence, it's like I've just kind of been focusing down here. I'll let you work on the Boston stuff for right now. But so
He's actually, well, he's New York, so that posed an even bigger challenge because I didn't know him and he didn't know me. So it was really just like jokes based off internet personas, which
that seems like even better.
It was definitely interesting. I just like referenced his set like every joke because that was all I knew about him. He was like, I feel like you just took my joke and like rewrote it. I'm like, that's exactly what I did because I had nothing to go off of. It was a good experience. It definitely taught me that like, you know, every now and then I recognize that I just think I can like get out there and like and do my thing, and it's you really need to prep a lot more than you even think, especially for something like that. And you know, veteran comics had kind of, you know, suggested I do certain things, and I didn't follow through 100% on some of the stuff they had suggested. And you know, it was a learning lesson of like, you know, do your homework, practice your jokes more, run them by people that are much better at comedy than you. So, you know, in hindsight, still pumped that I did it because, you know, you know, Will Noonan, who is a Boston comic, said that I was a fearless comic, and that after that, because I was willing to do that. And, you know, that pumped me up because I really do want to be fearless in this industry. And I feel like at the very least, that could potentially set me apart a little bit, that I'm willing to just try everything and I'm willing to fail. I'm going to try and fail gracefully, but, you know, that doesn't always happen.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the biggest part is trying. And I don't know if you've heard it, but I've definitely heard like, oh, you're a comedian? That takes a lot of cojones. You know, you need to have these balls, these huge balls, apparently, in order to go up in front of people and just like be honest and in time with your jokes and the things that you know you're sharing with them. Um,
Yeah.
so in that regards, what are your likes and dislikes of comedy so far?
I love to make people feel good. Like I love making people feel connected. I love people who are able to identify with anything that I say. And there have been moments where no one does. And you know, that's okay too. And I'm kind of realizing, maybe it's not for you. Maybe, you know, my style isn't for everyone, and that's okay too. But there are so many people that have reached out to me in really positive ways to say that they did feel connected to, you know, something I wrote or a joke that I made. And, you know, I like taking, you know, moments that have made me feel sad or just, you know, not great, and kind of writing based on that and being able to kind of just use it to make people laugh. I'm definitely not, I don't like to be a mean comedian. Like, I would much prefer write self-deprecating stuff that people can identify with. So I think my comedy style is, you know, very personal. I like to write a lot about myself rather than other people. But yeah, connecting with people is definitely my favorite part of comedy. My least favorite part of comedy is like the judgment or, you know, the negativity in the comedy scene, people not lifting each other up or supporting each other. I feel like it's just like in this industry, especially, like, we really need to support each other in order for people to succeed and get better and do well. And you don't always find that. I mean, I've definitely found people in the Boston comedy scene that have been super supportive and, you know, Tricia fans and friends. And I like that part, definitely. It's a lot more networking than I really kind of expected. I was a soccer player in high school and college, and it was kind of just like, if you're good at what you do, then you continue to do it and you get opportunities to do it. And I think Boston comedy and comedy in general is very much the same. It's extremely competitive and there's so many talented people, but there's also a networking piece that is crucial to getting opportunities, and those opportunities make you better. And I think that's been a real challenge for me, kind of trying to figure out, you know, everyone says, oh, just be around. And I don't think being around necessarily means that you're working harder than someone else. I write a lot. Every moment I'm in front of people, I am performing. Mm-hmm. So I don't necessarily think, you know, the advice of, oh, just be around is enough for me.
Well, yeah. I mean, from what I took a class, and at the end of the class, they were a big part of it. They're like, you know, and comedy is about networking. And as soon as I heard that, I'm like, great, I am excellent at networking. That is something I'm very familiar with from, you know, my professional life. It's the writing and the performing part for me that is harder, because people know my name. I don't have a problem with that where I am right now in Providence. People know who I am, but people haven't seen me perform very much because I'm not performing as much as I am trying to help other people and getting my life together with my move and, you know, just personal things. I kind of took a break, and I'm starting to come back now and doing more shows and improv, you know, but it's slow because I am scared to get up in front of people on a regular basis and do that part, which you are very comfortable with and have no problem doing, and you're great in front of everyone. But me, I'm working on that, and that's part of why I'm doing these videos too, you know.
Maybe we can teach each other a couple tricks. I mean, yeah. I get in front of people, and my, you know, personality or my persona or whatever it may be is just confidence, and I don't know where it comes from, to be honest. I'm pretty sure it probably comes from my parents, so shame on them. I am confident in my ability to make people laugh. I'm not confident in my ability to schmooze people and make them, want to give a shit about me or want to give me an opportunity to do what I love. But, I think that will come with time too.
Yeah, I mean, part of it is making friends, and that's why I've started a group like Tits and Giggles, so that female comedians can connect and support each other. And a big way of supporting that is what I do a lot of the time, is when people are talking about, they need someone for a space. I say, oh, I know a bunch of girls who would be great for that. I'm not available that night. I'm already booked with something else, but you should reach out to this person. And so making these alliances and these friendships with different people who are maybe more connected than you are definitely help. And just being fresh in someone's mind, and giving a person a reason to remember you when you do meet them for that brief period of time definitely helps. But that's why I'm starting this, I have this group, Tits and Giggles. I really want female comedians to support each other, because like you said, there is a lot of negativity in the world, but that's also just in life, there's a lot of negativity, including the comedy world. And yeah, it is cutthroat because everybody wants to make the buck and be famous. I mean, I personally am not doing this to be famous at all. I'm doing it because I want to make people smile, and I know I can do that in a larger capacity if there's more people in front of me, because one-on-one is what I do on a regular basis. It's a slower process. So
To what you were saying too, I think there's lots of people that are very talented that, could do really well in comedy, that maybe have been going through some personal shit, and we've all been there, I think. And while I've been doing comedy for 3 years, there have definitely been times where it's not been my priority. But like you said, that's also part of life too. It's I wish I could do this every minute of every day, but I need health insurance, and I need a job, and I need to support myself. But yeah, I mean, I wish I could just quit my job and do comedy full time, but it's definitely a slower process than I had originally expected.
Right. I think that's ultimately everyone's goal, is they want to be able to do this all the time. And yeah, getting there is hard, but it's because it's a business. And if you don't know how to start a business on your own, it's not like you're going to be able to start, yourself as a business, as a comedian, without a little help from, other people who are more knowledgeable or have done it themselves, because that's a big part of when I'm talking to these comedians who are big in our area. They're big, but they still have day jobs, they still have a regular 9 to 5 that they're dealing with, in addition to these shows in the evenings and stuff like that. So it's a struggle that everyone's going through. So I know you already gave a lot of great advice to new comedians when you were talking about your experiences before. But what is your most proud moment as of right now in comedy? Or it doesn't have to be comedy, but if there is a very proud moment for you, I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, I would say I have 2 very proud moments. I was on the cover of the Dig Boston, which was a very proud moment.
It's how I found you.
Yes. I think, the way that came to be, I had a close friend in high school who was trying to launch her photography page or website. Her name is Alyssa Richardson, Allie Richardson. And she asked me if she could do my headshots because I didn't have any headshots. So we went out in Boston. She took some awesome photographs for me. And then she said she wanted to kind of write something up to post with the pictures on her website. So we did an interview. And then she asked me if she could submit it to some places to see if they would pick it up. And it was picked up by the Dig. And I didn't find out until the day before the article was going to get published that they wanted to put me on the cover. And she texted me and was like, I think they're going to put you on the cover. And I was like, are you shitting me? What? Like, it was just like, it just came to be so oddly. And there was like a lot of negativity that came from that. And I just thought, how funny, like, if all these people just knew like how uninvolved I was in the process of this coming to light. I think it's awesome though. I was super flattered, and it was a very proud moment for me. I think it was the first time my family really realized that I was like really working hard to like make this my thing. But even more important than that, on my birthday this past year, August 14th, I got to perform at Nick's Comedy Stop in front of my entire family. And I think that was probably the most proud moment. I hadn't performed in front of one of my sisters, my older sister, and she was there. My mom and dad were there, and then all my other sisters who do come to a lot of my shows were all there. And it just was awesome to feel so supported by my family. I always have, but just to have them physically present meant a lot to me. And I had about 10 coworkers come to that show as well. So just feeling supported by the people that I care about the most is probably the most proud I've been.
Yeah, that that's great. But did you make fun of them at all when you were telling jokes?
Yeah. Like I said, my entire childhood has been has had a lot of humor involved. So everyone in my family could take a joke. They enjoy my comedy. My dad sends me like bi-weekly emails with jokes written, but they all have like an air of dad to them. So recently he's been trying to send me jokes that like he's written, but like is trying to be my style, and it's pretty hilarious.
Are you gonna encourage him to start going to open mics with you or anything?
I've been telling him for a very long time to start doing stuff like that. My dad's a phenomenal writer. He's very, very bright, and he's very well-spoken and well-written. He loves being in front of a crowd. So hopefully he will pursue it at some point.
So out of what you told me about your proudest moments, I wanted to touch back on two things. One, the hate that you received, because like haters are gonna hate, but did you find that this hate was coming from people in the comedy world specifically, or was it just a general, Tricia's so popular,
it was 100% only from the comedy community. Every other person that reached out to me or said anything about the article said, it encouraged them to go see more live comedy. Like it really like was well written enough that I think it really depicted my style of comedy, who I am as a person, just like all the things. Not everyone in the comedy community hated on it, but many did. And at the end of the day, all I want is to put it behind me and just say, I'm just going out and trying to do the same exact thing as everyone else. I just want to make people laugh. A lot of what was said was similar to what you were saying, that, I have a desire to be popular rather than to be good at comedy. And while I can understand why that might be the perspective from people that have been doing comedy a lot longer than me, I also think at the end of the day, if I'm someone that does comedy because I want to connect with people, then if people are feeling connected to me, I'm doing my job, whether that means that I'm, gaining popularity or whatnot. I just feel like if they could just take a step back and realize that I'm just trying to connect with people. And if I'm doing that, then in my heart, I know that I'm doing comedy for the right reasons and for the reasons that are important to me. But it's not a popularity contest. I'm not trying to be Kim Kardashian. I'm trying to do something that I love to do.
Yeah. Well, it's a little bit of a popularity contest, because if people don't like you, they don't care if you're funny or not. They're just not going to listen to you. But I want to emphasize the fact that you've explained how the Weekly Dig article actually occurred. And in your description of how it occurred, it seems that any comedian who was interested in potentially being in the Weekly Dig has the opportunity to do the work in order to get themselves that kind of publicity in order to be featured within the Weekly Dig. And if they're not doing that type of work and getting themselves their own features in whatever magazine, then poo-poo on them, and they shouldn't be mad at you, because you know what? You didn't even know until the day before, which I think is the best part of it.
You know what, Jax? Part of it made me be like, well, maybe I am good at networking. maybe I am networking with the right people. No, I mean, I think that whole situation has definitely blown over. I think people are over it, thank God. I think, you know, it didn't slow me down. Like, I was definitely like a little butthurt for a little bit. I was like, oh, why does everyone hate me? But at the end of the day, I just think it didn't come from, you know, that type of negativity never comes from a solid place. And it's just like, you just keep going. Like, I love comedy, and that's why I do it. So keep on keeping on, fighting the good fight.
Yeah, you totally didn't do anything wrong, and that's why I approached you, because I was like, look at this, you know, the article came up in my Facebook, and then I had to find, I was like, who is this Tricia? Because I had just started comedy at that point, and I just needed to know, just to reach out to other women who were doing it. But back to also the fact that you performed in front of 10 of your coworkers.
Yeah.
So I have recently had conversations with certain performers, whether they're in bands or they're comedians, where they specifically say that they don't tell anyone in their office that they do what they do, because they don't want people to show up at at their shows. But for you, that seems to not be a problem. And from what I can tell based on your Facebook posts, your work environment is very good. So do you want to talk about that for a minute?
Absolutely. One of the most important things that to me in finding a new job and in finding ever having a job is I always tell them during the interview process, I would much prefer them look me up, see what's out there, express their concerns with it if they have them, and then go from there. I think it's how I've ended up in the right opportunity is because I've been so forthcoming with this being one of my biggest passions, a huge part of my life. More like, I don't have a family or a boyfriend or a husband or anything. Comedy is that to me. So if that's not something that an environment would accept, then it wouldn't be the right environment for me. I recently left a job in September and started a new job at a much more corporate environment than I had previously been at. And to my very much surprise, they have been unbelievably supportive of the comedy stuff. And I think it just, when you find the right environment, it's like if from 9 to 5 you're doing what you need to do here, I don't feel like it's necessary for people to be worried about what I'm doing, you know, after 5. And, you know, the environment I'm in now is so into comedy that, and so supportive of comedy that, you know, they ask about it. They want to know about it at work, and they want to know how my shows are. They want to come to shows. And I think that's the right environment for anyone. If you have a passion, why shouldn't that be celebrated?
Right. Yeah. I guess I have had a few bad experiences with jobs and whatnot that I will not elaborate on publicly. but I just found it interesting that you brought that up, since I had recently had some conversations with people about how they just don't tell their corporate world a single thing about anything they do, because they don't want those people, they don't want their coworkers around their around their hobby, and maybe ruining it for them.
Mm.
But I know you mentioned soccer,
Yeah.
but what other interests other than comedy consume your time presently?
I really like hiking, biking. I love being active. Actually, a year and a half ago, I was diagnosed with a rare joint disease called Stills. And it's very similar to rheumatoid arthritis, so it affects all of my joints. So I kind of had to take a back seat on, well, fitness and being active kind of took a back seat in my life because my body just wasn't available to do things. Recently, I've been feeling much better, so I've been able to kind of do my active stuff again. I love yoga. Really anything active. I haven't really been able to start running again, but that's definitely on my list of things to do. I think when you grow up as an athlete, that's kind of like your main coping skill. When I've been stressed or things going on, I've always kind of looked to being active. So that was really challenging for me and I think I kind of used comedy even more when I wasn't able to use fitness or activities when I was stressed out. So comedy has really been a savior to me in that way. But yeah, I mean, anything active is definitely right up my alley.
So I know you're 30, and you're also, I would like to say that this is also one of your interests, is Tinder and just online dating. You're single, I'm single, I'm 30. Like, let's talk about this for a minute. So,
Yeah.
so you use
The
Tinder.
the biggest challenge for me in dating has truly been just men either being afraid that I'm going to write about them or make a joke about them. And on the other end of that, men with egos who want me to write about them and write jokes about them. I just want a genuine, nice, sincere person that cares about their family and has a passion. And I think I've created like an online persona that's, a very concentrated version of one part of me. And people really hold on to that and think like they know me. I'm like soft as shit and so sincere and like such a like loving person. And I just think that's been a huge challenge for me. I never know, who's sincerely trying to get to know me or who's wrapped up in Tricia Auld's online social media presence.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know you definitely get some funny experiences or funny moments out of it. I've just recently come into the dating world, and on my Cupid profile at the bottom, it says, "Yes, I will talk about you in my stand-up," because I at least want to put it out there so that they're not surprised if stories come out from these experiences and then I use them. So, but I'm also coming from a different side from you, than I've been married and divorced. And so I'm not at all looking for the one or anything, anything long term. I'm just literally on OkCupid for the good stories and for some fun, basically. And because also I find it to be very much a social experiment as to what will they say in these messages to you. And some of the things, like, I'm going to write about this eventually, so I'm not going to go into detail, but the things that men say, I just want to tell them what not to say. And like,
Yeah.
I got one guy once who was like, "Can you look at my profile picture?" And I said, "Well, you could smile more." And he goes, "Thanks." And that was the whole interaction we had, because he
I
just
have found Tinder to be an absolute waste of my time and energy, to be honest. Like, um, at the end of the day, I do want to find someone, and I am in a place at this point where um, I want a partner. I don't need a marriage. I don't need, someone that's going to spend the rest of their life with me, but I want someone that like supports me and thinks I'm awesome and thinks I'm funny and all that stuff. And Tinder is just like banter, 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 never ask anyone out. And then it's like, all right, like, see you never, Joe, 32, 2 miles from me.
Yeah, well, I mean, that'll come with just leaving yourself open. And again, through networking is another great way of meeting people, and even just becoming friends with someone. You never know where things will lead. Yeah, I'm a lot more jaded than you are when it comes to love and romances. So.
My last boyfriend booked a $3,000 vacation with me, and 2 days later broke up with me, and then paid me out the $1,500 because he didn't want to still go on the vacation that we had paid for. I was like, okay, so let me add this up. You would prefer to pay me $1,500 than go away with me and have sex with me drunk for a week? Like, this is where we're at. And unfortunately, the answer was yes. So here we are. I was jaded all summer. Now I'm
an idiot.
Now I'm like open again and just, seeing if there's another human being out there that could tolerate me for a week in Mexico.
I'm pretty sure there's probably several out there, and you'll find them. But so I guess that we kind of touched upon your hopes and your dreams and your aspirations for your love life. But what about for your comedy life or other parts of your life, whatever you want to share?
So I started out doing comedy by writing Never Been More Single, which is my blog. I've kind of like slowed down on writing on there. I really want to pick up writing more, or just turn that into something more than what it is right now. So that's definitely been a priority. I just am not positive what direction I want to go with it. As far as doing stand-up goes, I just want to keep doing it. I mean, I want to just get better. I want to keep working hard and do the best I can to be a good comic and a supportive comic to other people that are starting out. I think because of my experience starting out, I'm so much more encouraging to other people when they say that they want to try it. I'm like, come to an open mic with me. And I want other people to do it because I know how much joy it brings me. As far as like, where I see myself or what my, end game is, I still have like the vision of like, having a TV show or writing 5 bestsellers like Chelsea Handler, or, going on tours like Amy Schumer. Of course, I have those dreams and aspirations, but it's not my end game at this point either. It's more, those are the dreams and the goals, but like I'm just doing comedy because I love it. And I'm just going to keep doing comedy because I love it. And when I stop getting better, then I'll probably revisit whether or not I want to keep doing it. But I have seen myself grow, and I've enjoyed getting better at writing and writing jokes and connecting with people. So while that continues, I'm just going to keep doing comedy.
And I think, you couldn't have said it better. Like, you do comedy because you love it. And I think that's something that everyone needs to be aware of, that if you don't love comedy, don't do it. Don't do it because you want to be famous. Don't do it because you want to be popular. Don't do it because you want to be rich. Do it because you love it, and because you love to make people smile and laugh. And I love hearing you say that that's why you do it. And that's why I'm so happy to have you on the first episode of, just about everything, which is basically what we talked about.
Yeah.
These episodes will be available every Tuesday, hopefully for the rest of my life, or until I come up with another show concept. Tricia, thank you very much for being the first, and also, for sharing a lot of, the sincerity and the tenderness that is you, that other people might not see on a regular basis. Have you ever done an interview like this before?
Not like via webcam now.
Okay, but have you done any for video?
Nope.
No? Oh, okay. Cool. So, well,
The camera likes me.
yeah, the camera does like you, and I'm so glad our internet didn't drop out.
Yeah.
So again, jaxadele.com is my website. My videos will all be posted onto YouTube on Tuesdays for just about everything. And Tricia, I would like to leave the floor to you for you to tell us anything you have coming up right now or anything you want to leave the audiences with.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a blog. It's neverbeenmoresingle.com. I have a website. You can follow my upcoming shows. It's triciaauld.com. And the upcoming stuff I have is January 16th. I'm performing at Improv Boston in Cambridge. January 27th, the Shaskeen Pub in Manchester, New Hampshire. February 11th at the Cannery Music Hall in Southbridge, Mass. And Lenny Clark is headlining that show, so that was really exciting.
Wow.
And then February 13th at the Boston Comedy Chicks in Jamaica Plain. So that's some upcoming stuff that I have.
You're very busy.
Yeah, I would like to be busier. I think we all wouldn't hate having more shows. So
yeah, well, I'm definitely going to keep my ears and eyes open for stuff in this area, so we can get you down here occasionally. And if anybody does,
for coming to that show in December, that was really nice of you, and I know that all the comedians appreciated it, and I definitely appreciated it. It's the first time I've ever tried to run anything, and it was chaotic and crazy, but it was awesome.
Yeah, so let's just talk about that really quick before we wrap up. That was at Club Cafe. I had never been there. I have heard about it multiple times because I would like to go there to socialize and such. But I just never got there. So I went for that for your show. I made friends with Matt Kona. He invited me to a show that was at the Mediator stage.
Right.
That was great, but there was a very strange experience that occurred there, which basically a comedian just put me on the spot. He said, "I don't have anything prepared. I'm going to do crowd work. Hey, are you Jax?" And he called me out. I was in the back row, and this is at a comedy show, which usually you do crowd work in the front of the show, the rows and stuff like that. Called me out. Apparently, we ride the train together on a regular basis, and I ignore him. And he was so upset, apparently, that I had been purposefully ignoring him, that he made everyone extremely uncomfortable in that room. So
well, now you know. Now you can say, "Hey, what's up? Hello."
Yeah, well, since then I have not actually seen him on the train.
Taking Ubers now.
Yeah, I guess that, or we we're on different schedules or something. But it was super weird. So that happened with Matt Kona inviting me to that event, and Matt did great at that show as well as your show. And then what did you say?
Matt has just been awesome. He's been a really great person to talk to and connect with, and he's really supportive of new people in comedy, but just everyone in comedy. I think he just wants people to get better, and I love that about him.
Yeah, he's great. He's does he have a tagline? But I feel like he's like the Boston Jesus or something along those lines, or
Yeah.
homeless Jesus.
My mom is so religious, and he does a lot of religious jokes, or he has a lot of religious jokes. My mom loves him. My mom and my sister are like, "Is Matt Kona on this show?" I'm like, "He's not on every show that I'm on, guys."
Well, you know, everyone gets their talent crushes and stuff. So, you know, Matt Kona is just theirs. But then, so then after your show, there was another show at Club Cafe, and I stayed for it. And it was Nikki and Dapper Dan, and Nikki actually does stand up too, but she
Yeah.
also does a whole bunch of other stuff. But she sang that night, so it was just her singing. But it was still really great to like meet her and connect with her on that night just
Yeah,
after your show.
at the comedy studio, and then I saw her sing, and I was just like, how many talents can one person have? Like, she is very talented. She has lots of stuff up her sleeve. So
Yeah, she hula hoops too, and that's what I have found a video online of her hula hooping and telling jokes, and I was like, I need to know this person because I want to do that too.
yeah.
So that was really great to meet her. So thank you very much for you know getting me out to Club Cafe. I got a ticket after that
Whoa.
show. Yeah, I got a ticket for not having my inspection sticker up to date and for parking and not paying the meter, which was my fault. I get that.
Sounds like a pretty expensive ticket.
Oh yeah, no, it totally was. And after that, I was like, I'm never going to shows in Boston again, which I will go to shows in Boston again, but I'm definitely going to take public transportation in the future. So you know, you gotta learn somehow. Um, but no problem. Thank you for inviting me to that show. And when you have other ones, let me know. I mean, I know how to follow you. We're Facebook friends. Again, thank you for being on this show.
Thank you.
And
It was fun. It was nice to meet you again. Meet you again.
yeah,
Meet you over the
yeah.
internet again.
Yeah, well, to have more time to talk because we definitely didn't have much time to talk at your show.
Yeah.
So, you know, but it's great to have you on. Thank you very much. And we're gonna end just about everything now with me doing wait, do it again so the camera gets it. Yep, there you go. Tricia, you've been wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye.